Hey guys, Quentin here, and in today's video we're gonna actually see how we can deploy and install and deploy Coolify, which is a very nice system to have. That's actually an orchestration system for your VPS, your server. That sounds actually very fancy. Don't worry about it. It's very easy to use, and I'm going to show you today in today's video. I'm going to show you how to use it. So who's this for? Coolify is actually for person that want to host your personal project. You don't want to go with Vercel. You might not want to go with actually Railway, those cloud providers, cloud warper, and actually use Coolify instead. So you are actually using your own VPS, your own resources. There is no issue of actually having a surprise about getting your bill extremely high. You are actually using your machine resource over there. That's actually the whole ID of the Coolify, self-hosted. But this is also an easy way for you to actually test open source project. You can actually host your Docker, you can actually host a project, and I will actually see toward the end of the video, I'm going to actually use one of the orchestration system, which is actually n8n, similar to make.com, but actually self-hosted with, it's a little more technical, but much more powerful in terms of actually usage, having multiple triggers and whatnot. It's actually interesting. What do you need in order to follow along if you want it? You need to have a VPS. So I have actually a VPS. I've actually started a new VPS on DigitalOcean. You can use actually anything. I'll put a link down below as well. I'm using for my production system. I'm using actually Hostinger. I'll put an affiliate link down below if you want it. You're going to have actually 20% off your first purchase. And I've been actually using Hostinger for quite some time now, and I'm actually very happy with the VPS performance. I'm using this for my backend and all my system, all my website are actually hosted on the Coolify instance. So I'm using what I'm going to demonstrate today. I'm actually using it on day-to-day purpose. So production, let's put it this way. You need a way to SSH into your VPS. So using Windows, you need to have a CMD. You can actually use CMD, so command run, or actually using PuTTY or Kitty, which is actually a small software that allows you to SSH into your server. If you are on Mac, which is my case, I'm actually on Terminal. Let's actually jump right into the system. I'm going to go through step by step on how I'm doing it from a fresh system. It is assumed there's no obligation. There's literally no obligation on this, but I have actually set a DNS record, a record on my system. So I've actually called this n8n.makeautomation.code. This is actually an easy way for me to get access to the server without having to remember the IP. This is optional. That's not something that you need to actually, there's obligation of having, but you can literally put this if you're using Cloudflare, for example, or in your register under your DNS. That's actually fairly easy. This video will actually be maybe rather on the long side. I'm gonna be mindful of the time, but please be mindful. There's a lot of information to digest, and I'd like you to understand toward the end of the video. I'd like you to have actually a working system. My name is Quentin, for those who doesn't know. I'm actually 15 years in IT, 10 years in operation, and I've actually moved into DevOps and now recently, 4 years ago, into the AI automation freelancer, and we'll dive into the video as we speak. As I said, I have actually a droplet on DigitalOcean. The reason why I use actually DigitalOcean is I had actually free credit over there. That's the only reason I'm using DigitalOcean as we speak. So I'm going into SSH the server. So first time you're going to SSH into. So as you see, I'm actually SSH root at and then the IP address. It's going to ask you if I want to actually add the fingerprint. You would actually like to do and say yes. As you see here, I'm actually using an API, an SSH key, sorry. If you haven't set, and I'm not suggesting you should actually have, yes, you should have an SSH key, but for the time being, you can actually just use your root password. If you, on any providers, they would ask you to set up a root password. You can actually connect into this. Like you can actually connect using the root password and then set up an SSH key, or actually just if you are stuck with the SSH key, please comment down below and I'll be able to help you. But bottom line, having an SSH key is actually way more secure than a root password, because yeah, it's more secure. So first comment, what we're gonna do is I'm actually running this on Ubuntu as we speak. So what you can do is you can do an apt get update. So we actually get updates, right? So apt-get update. This is actually needed to download your new package. So basically, I see this as a Windows update if you are coming from a Windows environment, and then you can do an apt-get upgrade. And you can actually just say yes over here. So basically, we are now actually updating the whole instance. I'm gonna make this a little bigger. And while I'm gonna move my head over there, boom. While I'm actually doing this as well, I'm gonna do actually something as well. I'm gonna go to, and I'm gonna put this link into the description as well for you. Let me actually put this. We're gonna go to Coolify, in this case, coolify.io. There's actually one command that you need to actually copy, which is actually over here. You're gonna click on the self-hosted version. And you have as well, there is also a lot of actually, like for example, Hetzner is also a good option. Very difficult for the moment as we speak with Hetzner to get actually an account created. That's why I'm actually using Hostinger, and the fact that they run a lot of promotion as we speak. So that's what I thought. We're gonna go and click on the self-hosted, and we're gonna actually copy this comment over here. Right. So the apt upgrade now is actually promoting me with this screen. You can just simply hit enter, keep the local version currently installed. And right now the system is actually doing a full system upgrade as we speak. Should actually take a couple of minutes. Maybe I'll pause the video in order to and resume when it's actually ready. All right, the upgrade is finished. Literally took 2 minutes. What I'm gonna do now, remember we copy the comment from Coolify. You can actually just simply paste the comment over here. And congratulations, the most difficult portion of the video is actually currently done. I'm gonna pause this and the video as well. And so right now the system is downloading everything. That's actually automatic. There is nothing for you to do. Just actually sit and tight, take a coffee. I'm gonna pause the video on my side, and I'm gonna grab you back when it's finished. I'd just like to quickly show you what's happening as well. Don't have to worry about it and wondering what's happening. Right now we are downloading a bunch of Docker image. So Docker is a way for, it's a containerization system which allow you to ship any application that you had on your laptop, for example, and ship it to any server. And regardless the operating system, Docker will actually run into a Windows, into a Linux, into a Mac, for example, and will actually run into your machine or another machine. This is actually, that's been very powerful. And when Docker actually got released in 2017, or if I'm not mistaken, maybe I'm making a mistake on the date, but this was actually extremely powerful. Imagine as a developer, you could actually develop an application. You didn't have to install any dependency into the system, and the other user could actually run your application itself. That's actually the power of Docker. As you see now, when I finished the explanation of Docker, we now have actually the instance installed, and you can actually just visit over here. You can actually visit this URL over here. So as you see, Coolify has been installed on a machine. Fairly simple. It's actually not much to do, just one command to paste. And now it's gonna actually ask us to create a registered account. So we're gonna have to register. In this case, I'm gonna put my name, and then I'm gonna put my email address. I'm gonna use a password. All right. You can actually continue the onboarding if you want it. I'm gonna skip it for the sake of the length of the video. but you now have actually a Coolify. I'm going to disable this pop-up. You now have actually a Coolify installed on your system. As I mentioned, Coolify came with actually some option already pre-installed, or you could actually pre-install fairly easily without having to think about how to run your Docker, how to make, and I could actually potentially make a more advanced if you want it. Please put a comment down below to confirm if you wanted to actually see a more advanced video on how to set up like hosting your own developed application. I'm actually, as we speak, I'm running my own Coolify instance where I have actually my own Docker for an API that I'm running for the community. So I will show you now, and I will actually install some of the project that we could actually potentially use. And in this case, n8n. If I go to project and I'm clicking on add, I can now literally put a name. So I'm going to put n8n test. I can continue. Now the system will actually ask me, what do I want to run? So obviously I'm running this on the production. You can also have with Coolify multiple server if you wanted to do like a load balancing. I'm not going too much details over here, but you could actually potentially do this. And now add new resources and you will see. You have actually a bunch of options. You can actually go with a public repository, which is a Git repository, so a GitHub repository. So for example, in this case, I could actually run one of those GitHub over here that I could actually run, I could actually build and run on the server itself. You can actually run a private repository. So for example, I have plenty of private repository. I actually can deploy them automatically and I can do my CI/CD, so continuous implementation, continuous deployment into the Coolify system. You can also actually deploy with a private key in case you don't have actually, for example, if I'm accessing a private GitHub from someone else, I could actually potentially add an SSH key from Coolify to be able to SSH into the GitHub repository and download what's needed. You can also actually build some Docker. So using a Docker file, Docker Compose, that's actually powerful. Another point is actually Postgres SQL. You could actually potentially run a Postgres SQL if you need it. That's actually also fairly nice and fairly common to use. You can have a MongoDB or a MariaDB. And then you have actually all those over here. You have actually the services. Those are the one-click type of services. You can actually, for example, run AppSmith, which is actually interesting. You have actually, for example, if you search for Supabase, you will actually find a Supabase instance over here. If I'm searching for WordPress, I can actually install WordPress with actually without a database, with MariaDB, for example, or MySQL. Speaking of Word, we also have actually VaultWord, which is actually the Bitwarden self-hosted version, which is actually a password manager, fairly interesting. But in this case, I'm going to do, for today video, I'm going to do n8n. Now I'm going to actually deploy n8n with actually Postgres. So that means I will have a database, which is actually is going to be fairly easy. Again, everything here is actually almost ready. This is a one-click deployment. I'm going to move my head over here. And I'm going to actually name this n8n test demo, for example. Name it the way you want. So it actually defined the Postgres itself. Something I want you to modify is that if you have added an A record on your registered or on your Cloudflare, you can then actually just define another easier name or host name. So in this case, I'm going to actually rename this n8n makeautomation.co. Right? That's actually, I have a DNS entry. I have a record that's actually points to the IP address of this droplet or this VPS. And I have actually now saved the domain. So I will actually be accessing the n8n instance using this domain name. If you didn't have it, just put, for example, for instance, put your IP address. That should actually also work. There is nothing else to do. In this case, you can just click on deploy. And now what's going to happen is that Coolify will take this information, download and pull the image for the n8n instance, download and the Docker as well for the MySQL in this case, or the Postgres, sorry. and will actually deploy everything. So again, it's a one-time, one-click installation for an n8n, and the advantage compared to Make, for example, n8n is now actually going to be self-hosted. I don't have any cost operation. I can actually have multiple trigger, for example, and I can have actually a deeper access. Like it's a little more complex, yes, but I have actually much more freedom in terms of how do I want to manipulate the data, for example. So fairly powerful. Please let me know on the comment if you would like to see more n8n content. Something I'm thinking as well. I don't see there's a lot of video over there. I have actually quite some nice automation in n8n, and I would actually be happy to show you how to build in n8n if actually something that you are interested in. As you see here, starting containers. So the containers has been started, which is actually fairly good. You should actually see it here. I have green here. We're looking good. We are looking good. You can actually click on the little link here, and then you have actually a link that I set up over here at the bottom, as you see. And now if everything goes well, I should actually have something. I might just have to disable something here. I need to go to my Cloudflare. I need to disable this here. I'm gonna save this. All right, so that's actually just a proxy settings in this case, so don't worry about it too much. If you had actually on your register, if your register is not actually Cloudflare, you don't have to worry about it. Let me actually quickly check as well. You can also, by the look of it, let me actually quickly go back to link now. Let me see. I still have a page not found. So let me pause the video, troubleshoot quickly, and then I will explain further. All I needed to do in the troubleshooting, so if you actually follow along on the video, you actually need to set up an HTTPS connection. This is the beauty of actually me using Cloudflare in this case. Cloudflare is handling the Let's Encrypt SSL certificate for me. It's fairly easy to do. There's not much on your side, hence why you will actually need to install, if you are not using Cloudflare, you will actually need to install an SSL certificate so you can install Let's Encrypt on your VPS server. If you are not using Cloudflare, you are missing it out. You should actually transfer your DNS into Cloudflare. So for example, I buy my domain on Namecheap, and then I'm pointing into, and I'm creating an account on Cloudflare. I'm pointing the two, so I'm pointing the Namecheap into Cloudflare, and then I'm handling the entire Cloudflare setup within, like for all my HTTPS, all my website are now under an SSL certificate that's actually handled by Cloudflare for free. So in this case, all I needed to do is actually have an HTTPS, and potentially I could have actually went ahead with just the IP, maybe, but in this case I wanted to use an HTTPS. So if you follow along and go to change your settings from HTTP to HTTPS, in this case, you will arrive into this. You can actually simply set up your account. We're gonna do this quickly together. Please remember your password as well. There is no, as we speak, it's a self-hosted version. There is no forget your password working. If you want to go actually set up your password, you will likely need to add an SMTP option server. Again, happy to have a follow-up version if you want it, but that's actually an introduction video here in this case. I don't want to receive an update. Thank you very much. And there you go. We now have actually an n8n instance that you can actually use hosted on your Coolify server. And so meaning that you don't have cost operation, you don't have extreme amount of cost in terms of VPS. I think a VPS on a Stinger is like $7 a month. That's actually fairly cheap for the capability of n8n in this case. So I hope this video was actually informative, and I hope you actually enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments what you would like me to speak about next. I'd be happy to cover some build. I'd be happy to maybe make some more video on n8n. And until then, I wish you a very pleasant day. Thank you for watching.